Thank you, Mike.
All right, good. All right, so welcome everybody to our second question and answer meeting for our Illumify authors. It looks like we lost Abeba. Maybe she's coming back. So I've been collecting some questions. Jen has them. And so Jen, why don't you work through the questions and show them, and then we'll talk about it. And then if you have any questions, we'll answer those.
So Phyllis has already published one book and is working on another book. And this will be Linda and Caitlin's first book and Aviva's first book. So Phyllis already knows that when you're getting close to wrapping up your book, you're going to establish 2 accounts, one with Ingram Spark and one with KDP Kindle. And we're going to put the paperback in the Ingram Spark account, and we're going to put the ebook in KDP Kindle. And the reason why we separate them is because if we were to put both books with Amazon, they would ask for exclusivity, and we wouldn't be able to sell as widespread as we get sales with Ingram Spark. Ingram Spark is the world's largest printer and distributor. They will even sell it internationally for you. And they have like 30,000 online retail partners, including libraries and universities and brick and mortar bookstores, not just online retailers. So most of the time I get questions from authors who are, wrapping up about how do I place orders? How does the publisher compensation or royalties work? A couple of the questions that we got emailed this week were about taxes. So I'm going to just run through those, and then we're going to allow a lot of time for questions as well, especially because you guys are in different places in the process. The first question was, who is responsible for the tax collected when a purchase is made on Amazon? So, Vera, this is Vera's question. So
good, just in time. So
hi, Vera.
I'll go ahead and answer that. So Amazon collects the tax; they take care of all the taxes. So authors are not responsible for tax on any sales on any online retailer or any bookstore, unless you're stocking books with the bookstore. You don't need to worry about that.
But the only kind of exception would be is if you went to an event like a conference and you were selling your books as a vendor, and you would need to know the tax in that city that you're selling it in, and you would need to charge and collect tax and then report tax for that.
So that's the question kind of along this.
Go ahead.
If you wanted to order some books from Ingram and basically donate them like to a Christian organization and let them sell them, would they collect the tax? Is that how that would work?
Well, if it's a nonprofit, they aren't taxed.
Oh.
But Phyllis, let's just go down the rabbit trail for that one, is that if you place that order through your Ingram Spark account, you will pay tax on that. But you don't have to pass, hi Joseph, but you don't have to pass that tax on to who you're purchasing them for and selling it to. You can do whatever you want with those books.
Okay, so if they sell it for a profit, then that's all in their territory, whatever they want to do with it.
Right.
Yes.
And if you had to write it off, you can write off the retail value of the book.
Oh, I was thinking of donating them to somebody wanting to make some money. Okay.
Right.
And Vera, Phyllis, I always want to connect you and Vera because I think you have so much in common. But Vera also had this question, I think, right, Vera, where you were going to order for a church, and you had your husband is got the church credit card.
Right.
So you can actually use that church credit card through your Ingram Spark account and charge the church. But again, unless you have already set up your Ingram Spark account to be a nonprofit, you will pay tax otherwise. So most of you have not set up your account as nonprofits. Yeah, Joseph. Oh, we can't hear you. I think you're muted, Joseph.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Mike, do you want to text him?
Yeah, well, just put it in the chat box, Joe. Joseph.
Yeah, we can't hear you at all. Okay, so that was Vera's question about how do taxes get reported?
He said
Um,
if it is a church, they are tax exempt. Right, that's what I just said. You're right.
Right, yep. So this is for Caitlin and Linda who aren't quite there yet, and you've got Phyllis and Vera and Joseph who have already published with us. So they already kind of know a little bit more, but you are going to be able to place personal orders through your Ingram Spark account for your paperbacks. You can have them delivered anywhere you want, including your own home, but you don't get royalties or publisher compensations for your personal orders. But for all other sales that happen through all the other online retail, including your ebook, you will be automatically paid royalty compensation through the account, because when you do the account setup, it will ask you for a bank account. So it automatically deposits that after a certain period of sales.
Okay. Yep.
So then another question was, will I be taxed when I purchase books directly from Ingram Spark? So Vera, we've already placed a personal order in your Ingram Spark account, haven't we?
Personal only in the sense it was from you guys.
Okay, so you haven't placed an order yet.
No,
but
I have not placed
when
it.
you're on the first order page, and if it's helpful, why don't I show you? This is one of our authors, Chris Fontanella, and this is his Ingram Spark account, and he has 2 books with us. And when he wants to place an order in his Ingram Spark account, you can see it's a pretty easy website to navigate. Let's say we're going to place this order here for this book, Jumpstart. When it's 3 screens in the ordering process, but you can see this gray bar is really your navigation bar. Your title is your book, your reports, both new and classic, and I guess they're eliminating the classic reports. They're not very reliable. They're not very explanatory. They're very basic. So they're going to this new kind of report, which we can look at if anyone is helpful for anyone. But you can see that his ship to address is already defaulted to, this is probably his business address. And then this is the book we're thinking about ordering. And this little box is the number of books. And this is how many books would be in the carton, which you can't impact. It's whether you order 1 book or 64, it's just showing you how many in a carton. So let's say I wanted to order 10 copies of this book. Then I'm going to update the order. This is where you're going to see the tax. So I'm trying to answer Vera's tax question. Well, no tax. So I don't know if that has to do with how he set up his account, or where we're shipping to. If this hyperlink right here is really valuable for all of you as you consider how fast you want the books printed and how you want to ship the books to you. So these are all the things that you need to do on this screen. Is this shipping address what I want it to be? And how quickly do I want the books printed? And usually there's more than just economy service. The price break, and this is for all of you, but especially for Linda and Caitlin, is at 750 books, they start to give you a price break. Otherwise, in this case, his unit selling price for his book is $13.99. So that's his wholesale price. And usually there's a handling fee.
Right, it's not there.
There's usually a $1.99 handling fee. It's very standard. It's almost always there. And I have never seen it where it doesn't ask how I want it shipped. Let's just try to, I'm stumped. I've never seen this. It's only offering basic shipping, but usually you can pay for shipping, expedited shipping, and you will pay more to expedite your printing, and you will pay more to expedite your shipping.
At $13.99, his book must be pretty large. Is it like 500 pages or something? Do you remember offhand, or? Because that's a pretty big price.
Yeah, Michael, something's off here. I'm not, let me go out of, this and go to his other book, because something is really not standard. Let's see about ordering his other book. Let's try to order this one. I also know that in his particular account, because his address is so long, that's affected our orders. Okay, that is what's going on here. So let me just kind of take out some things. Because his book should be, we try to, most of our book, there we go. Now we're cooking. Okay, so his book is $3.18. Because to answer your question, Joseph, you're right. His book isn't that large. So here's where you can see the different speeds for printing. But unlike, this is print on demand. But let's say that somebody is going to buy your book through Amazon, they're going to get it in a couple of days. But you ordering it through your Ingram Spark should expect at least a week and a half, because the slowest service, which is economy, prints in 5 business days. So if you ordered on a Friday, don't count the weekend, and then count, a couple days for shipping. And again, you can see the difference in the price there. So you can see, to answer your question, Vera, that there is tax on this, this order.
And they report the tax.
And they do. So then at the end of the year for bookkeeping, you would be able to, and I'm sorry that I don't know this answer, but again, I help authors manage their accounts, but I don't have necessarily my account. But Ingram Spark is supposed to send you your tax form. For your accounting purposes. So,
Well, but I do think it's like if you've had like $600 in sales or more, because if you don't, there's a threshold where you don't get any tax forms.
Yeah. Yeah. So then another question that Vera had is, who can order books directly from Ingram Spark besides the author, right? So obviously we can place orders in our account. I will send you all, but you can also Google it, Ingram Spark distribution, and it will list some of their major distribution partners. Like I said, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and Amazon around the world, by the way, but also libraries, universities, brick and mortar. If Chris Fontanella, who's the author of this account, wants to have a bookstore in his town have his book, he approaches the bookstore and says, you can find my book on Ingram Spark, and that bookstore can place that order through Ingram Spark.
Well, actually, you should say Ingram. Don't say Ingram Spark, because the bookstore may not recognize Ingram Spark, but Ingram is the owner of Ingram Spark and the distribution company.
Yes.
So say it's on Ingram, and any bookstore owner will know what Ingram is.
Yes. And that's really how you want to do it. The other way you can do it with a local store is that you can consign the books to them, and then they can return any unsold books to you and pay you for whatever you've sold. So that's another way you can handle it.
But an individual cannot go on to Ingram Spark and buy a person's book. They only work through a retailer or through the author, with the author ordering the books.
So in the case of Vera and her husband being deeply involved in their church, and they want to order copies for the church, if they're in their account, go to submit the order, there's one more screen, and it's basically just asking you if you want to apply a PO number, and do you want to email this order to anybody else? And then your third screen is, how do you want to pay? And it says you can pay with a credit card on file, which you will be asked for when you establish your account. The only time you should be charged is when you place an order. But you can also say, I'd like to pay with a new card. And so Vera, in this case, could put in the church credit card and pay with the church credit card and have it shipped to the church. And I'd like to just point out that commercial, which would be like this Chris's address, it automatically detected that this address is a business. A church would also be considered commercial. Commercial is far cheaper than residential. And again, this hyperlink right here will show you a description of all of their shipping methods that they offer. So you can always play in this screen with your quantity to see what your total will be. And again, the price break is $750, and you'll pay more as you expedite both printing and shipping.
You know
Does
what,
anyone
Jim,
have
why
any
don't you
questions about that?
Just plug in the 750 so everybody can see what it looks like.
Okay. And I want to point out too, that this little box, it's saying you have selected basic shipping. Basic shipping is so cheap because it's non-insurable and non-trackable. So you have to agree to this, that I understand that when you do select that method, but you can see that it's significantly cheaper. So anytime you, we're gonna go commercial ground. Anytime you play with the numbers, you should go to update order. And you can see that it's taken away basic shipping because it's not gonna send $750 without some kind of a tracking. And at $750, I want you to know that this, they can often subcontract the printing to another printer partner that they have.
Right.
They're like 7 printers located nationally for Ingram Spark. And so they usually send your job to your closest printer to the address they're shipping to. But if one reason why I think you can get a better deal, and that's called this extended service, you can see the price break here, is that they're going to subcontract it and it's going to take longer. They're going to.
It's like
Yeah,
$600
but
less. So-
That
so
is
click-
a significant difference.
It is.
318, 306, that's not a big break at
So,
750.
click
But the
on extended
would
service.
be.
Okay, so I'm gonna do the numbers on this. 21 divided by 750. You are paying $2.81 a book delivered.
Yeah.
It's cheap. Now, you got to figure out where you're going to store 750 books.
And remember, that's the number of
Right.
52 books in a carton. So you have to do the math there. And you can't be in a hurry because it will take a while. But a lot of people do this if they're thinking of they're having some author events, you know, or gifting or whatever they're doing.
Yeah,
So
that's like 15 cartons.
Yep.
And the carton aren't huge. So actually 15 cartons wouldn't take a humongous space. A spare bedroom would easily fit that, I would think, Michael, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
and they often, if you have a bulk order like this, then Ingram Spark will reach out to you by email, the email that you have in your account when you establish your account, and it will say, do you have a loading dock? Do you need a dolly or a I forget what they call it, like the hydraulic.
Lift gate.
The lift,
Yeah,
yeah.
lift gate. That's it. So they will reach out to you and say, do you have that? Do you need that? Is this a business? Any special instructions? And you know, we've had a lot of authors do this.
So in
I-
my experience, when it says usually prints in 60 business days, it's less than that.
Yes.
So, you know, but, you know, I wouldn't expect it in a week, but, you know, 60 business days, it may be 30 business days.
Yeah.
So they're just trying to cover their backside.
Yep.
So
No
let's
doubt.
keep moving
Yeah.
along.
Okay.
Yeah, they could, if they got 2, 3, 1,000 orders for large bulk, then obviously they gotta push things out.
So again, and I can put it in the chat, but there's 2 really good things you should Google. One is the Ingram Spark distribution partners, and it'll immediately should come up with an Ingram Spark website that describes who they partner with, how it works. The second one is the Ingram Spark user guide, and it will explain everything, including royalties and publisher compensation. One thing you need to remember is that you are considered the publisher. So when it says the word publisher, they're not talking about Illumify. That's going to be your imprint on your book. You're really the publisher. Illumify publishes self-publishing authors. So this account considers you the publisher. You own all the rights, you get all the royalties. So when you see like these reports, let me show you like how the wording will be. It might seem weird, but publisher compensation is your royalties. And in that user guide that you can look up online, that I usually always send an author when we're done, we wrap up, and it's something you should just bookmark. It will describe that I think you're not paid your first royalty until 90 days after the first sale. So it's not just trickling in, and they're paying you, $5 here, and it depends on time frame. And like I said, they're doing away with these reports, and they're going to just keep these new reports, and that should be soon. And this is much
Well,
more visual. The other one I
yeah.
always want to
The other one said they're going away May 2023.
May. Okay.
Okay.
And they really is one of my biggest grumbles about Ingram Spark. I have a couple, but one is that they don't have any live customer support. So if you ever need customer support, you do go to the help center and you submit a ticket, and they're not very quick to respond. And it usually requires a little bit of going back and forth with the email you will ultimately receive to fix your issue or answer your question. But the second grumble is that their reports aren't very thorough, not very detailed. And people, really do want to know, well, like it'll show, I sold my book in Australia. Well, who did I sell my book to in Australia? It could be a bookstore, it could be an individual, and it doesn't really go into that kind of detail. So just as long as that's your expectation. So then one of your questions was, do I get any revenue from books sold? So again, as long as it's not your order, your personal order, all other sales will generate a compensation for you. And it's 50, what is it, Michael? Well, your
It's the
whole,
retail price minus 53%, which is the discount that a retailer gets. That way they can play around with the price. So it's minus 53%, and then Ingram Spark will show you how much they're going to charge you per book. And then whatever's left is what you get. Now, I try to park the royalties. We do like at around $3.50, which is significantly higher than traditional publishing. But so, it's going to be right around 350, 320, 370, something like that.
and for Caitlin and Linda, I want you to know that we will work with you on a retail price, and we generally try to land the author at about $3.50 in royalty.
Yeah, so Jen will confer with you on that.
Yeah, we'll discuss that as we get a little bit closer. I put in the chat box that distribution link that I talked about, and I'll put in the user guide as well if you want that link. And then there's something else I was gonna tell you. Then we have an author that's not on this call with us tonight that asked, how does an author have their books linked, showing up in the same Amazon search? And let me show you what I mean by that. We'll look up a recent author.
Yeah, I think my books are linked.
Okay, we'll look up Joseph's.
They should be linked. So
Yeah.
if they're
We link
not,
all of our
then there's
authors'
an
books.
issue. Yeah.
Let's do.
Yeah, Joseph M. Leonard. Remember, there's a Joseph Leonard out of South Carolina. Yeah.
So you can see that when I click on this, I'm going to see all versions of the book instead of it being Terror Strikes Kindle here, Terror Strikes paperback here. So a couple of things to tell you about it, and I'm not going to log into anybody's KDP Kindle account. And the reason why is that it's always a two-step verification to get into an author account, including for you, if you need to get into your author account. It will send you either an email or a text with a code, or you would need to approve this link, but it always has a two-step verification.
Right. But it
So
only
what-
showed the one book because you put in the book title.
I
Whereas
did.
if you would have put in Joseph M. Leonard,
I
it
would have
should have
seen the
showed
other.
both my books.
Right.
Yeah,
Now,
back to back.
No, that's a good point. Let's actually go back to Joseph for a minute, because I think what this author, Jamie, is asking in her question.
Oh, there you go.
So under Joseph's books, this is his Amazon Author Central page. So when you click on the hyperlink, and I'll go back to show you again in case you missed it. But let's say we're in Joseph's title. We click on his name. Even his forward contact has.
Yeah, and by the way, yeah, my book's down to $6.90. It goes anywhere from $6.95 to $9.99 based on supply and demand. It keeps floating back and forth.
And let's put a pen in that for a minute, because I want to come back to that question, because I get that question a lot. So once you have your KDP Kindle Amazon account and we have a book loaded up into it, in this case 2, you can upload a bio and a photo, and you can collect the books that you have. So Jamie Mansfield is this other author that asked this question. She has several books. Doesn't matter who your publisher is. You basically
You claim the
those
book.
books,
Yeah.
right? And that's how they get linked, and that's how you build your author page. So now back to Joseph's point about the price of the paperback. We did not price this paperback at this price. Amazon is Amazon. Amazon gets to do whatever they want to do. And it's not only Amazon selling your book, it's many other sellers selling your book. So as you've probably seen before, you have options for what price you want to pay and who you want to buy it from. It's not just Amazon.
Yeah, and the other thing, I expected Amazon to do print on demand sales. They didn't do that. They seem, I don't know if it's only particular books. My book, they decided to buy books in chunks. And the early books, when they first spent the money, they're selling closer to the $20 a book list rate, of course, to make that money. And then the more they sell, the more they're willing to discount other books to sell them, because they look at it like as a chunk price they expect to earn overall, as opposed to every single book we're going to make this amount.
Because
So-
they want to capitalize on the sale, regardless of the price.
So let me jump in and say, so Amazon right now sells it for $6.95. These other second party sellers, they are buying that book at $6.95. You get your full royalty regardless of the price that Amazon sells it at. And so these third party suppliers, they buy the books and then they sell it at the higher price, and that's how they make money.
Yeah, if anybody's dumb enough to pay that higher price when it's available for $6.95.
Yeah, but
Whereas like Barnes and Noble and Books A Million, if you go to their site, it's still listed at $19.95 or 20 even or
Right.
whatever.
Right?
Yeah.
And I do want you to know that if you decide on revisions at some point with your book, right, that your other version is going to still be out there. So let's say, and like Joseph's alluding to, that Amazon could have ordered a case of your books, and they're going to sell that first version until it's gone. And so you might place an order thinking, I'm going to get my revised version, and you don't get the revised version, even though the revised file is loaded in your Ingram Spark account. And that is the metadata. And that's the other thing, is that I am continuously dealing with authors, is the metadata is really all of the details of your book and your book file in your account. We might make a little change in your Ingram Spark account, like change the category, but all of those other online retail partners, they have to grab the metadata. All those servers have to talk to each other, and they don't always talk to each other.
And
So
what-
it's
and-
very frustrating for authors.
And what you said about Amazon is going to sell the stock they've got makes perfect sense. Think of it like if you still had a Barnes and Noble bookstore.
Yes.
They're selling the one on the shelf. They're not ordering a fresh one.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And I will say too that they try their best to play nicely together, all of them, but they don't always, especially Amazon just does whatever they want to do at all times. And they have actually great customer support for authors, but
Yeah.
they can only do so much, because they'll say, well, you published your paperback with Ingram Spark, so What can I tell you?
Yeah,
Um,
Amazon is a royal pain in the butt, to be
It
Yeah,
is.
they
honest.
are.
But 80% of all books sold through there, you gotta sell through Amazon.
Right.
Yes.
Period.
Well, and they're
You
making it
just got
harder.
no choice.
They're making it harder for us to put our print books on Ingram Spark and our ebooks on KDP. And they're just, you know what, they're money hungry criminals.
Yeah.
I swear.
Bezos. I am not a Jeff Bezos fan. He's got enough money. I would love. That's one reason why I set up my own book site. I want to sell autograph copies direct to people. I'll discount it myself to them. But 99 out of 100 people, just when you mention a book, they're gonna go to Amazon.
I know.
And in Joseph's case, so he sells his book off of his website, right? And that even his Amazon Author Central page directs people to his website. But again, it gives people options for how to purchase your book, right? But in Joseph's case, if he's selling it, he has to actually be the distributor. He has to do the order fulfillment, and
Yeah.
it's often a lot of work for an author who doesn't want to run that business. So you need to really know who you are, what you want to,
When
how
you're
you want to operate.
when
this.
you're first starting out, it's okay, unless if you've got a runaway hit that you're going to sell 1 million books. You can fulfill yourself at least for a while, and then at some point, hopefully you do have a runaway hit and you can't keep up, and you'll just have to shut down your site and not sell direct anymore.
Yeah.
Then you can link back to Amazon saying, sorry, no longer fulfilling off, books or volumes directly. Please see Amazon or Books A Million. Yeah, I try to send people to Books A Million and Barnes and Noble, but $20 there because they aren't discounting it. I don't know why they won't discount it some.
Yeah.
They should, as opposed to, you could see Amazon currently listing it at $7. Well, duh. Of course, they're going to charge shipping unless if they're a Amazon Prime. So there's another $4 or $5 on top of that. But still, even Barnes and Noble shipping it free at $20, it's still cheaper, $10 plus 4 shipping through Amazon. So
I have two kind of interesting suggestions that I don't often remember to tell authors, but if you ever, once your book is published, if you ever want to see where your book is selling, I'm gonna put this in the chat, and then I'll share my screen and show you. But let's see, we're gonna do Leonard, Joseph.
oh, this is a new site. I haven't seen you demonstrate this before. I definitely got to write this down. ISBN search.org, eh?
Yeah, and there's a couple of search engines that you can look. It doesn't have to be this one. You can type in your Google search, ISBN search, but it should show you where your book is being published, where being sold. And the
Yeah,
various places.
I use Smashword to get it available on a bunch of other places. Yes.
So this just kind of, and remember, Amazon.com is Amazon UK, Amazon Australia. It's all, again, they want the sale, so they're going to sell it nationwide.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that I often forget to tell people is that I encourage you, if you're on Facebook, to join an Ingram Spark community. It's a group that you have to join. They have to approve. But it's amazing how many topics are discussed on that one. And let me see if I can find mine, and I'll give you the exact name. And then I'm also on
That's on Facebook, you said? Ingram Sparks Community?
It is. It's
I'll have to
Facebook.
look that up. I haven't looked that up. That's the other reason too why you may want your own website. With your own web stats, you see where people are surfing in from, what nations, and specifically even down to the IP address at times. Like terror strikes, I'm getting a lot of interesting navigation in from our enemies, Russia and China and North Korea and Iran, who are not obviously portrayed in a positive light in that book, but but Boker has a good affiliate now. Of course, you can buy the website in a package through
Bowker.
Bowker.
Illumify, but also if you don't get it in a package through Illumify, which I highly suggest you let Lisa build you one, you can go through Boker. They have an affiliate that has author pages also that are pretty good, but they're kind of limited. Lisa can do more for you at this point than the Bowker affiliate does.
So this is the Ingram Spark author community, and I joined it. And then you can do searching and you can look for things of topics inside this, but just lots of good discussion. Like I said, my internet is really slow today, but I'd encourage you to do that. And then there's another one for KDP, which is a little bit less interesting, I found. But I would encourage you to try the Ingram Spark. Does anyone have any questions? That covered the questions that people submitted prior to our Q&A tonight.
Well, except for the audio, or do you not want to get into that, Mike?
I have an audio person. Her name's Mackenzie Fetters. Just so you know, an audiobook's going to run you $4,000, $5,000. Now, your royalties are going to be higher on an audiobook than on a print book. You're going to get, like, oftentimes it's like 50% of the royalties, but the production for the book is just expensive. And Mackenzie, she's she does work voicing audiobooks, but she is connected to us, and she would be a coordinator, and she actually works with a studio in Nashville. So anyway, she could be the person to deal with you. So let Joseph, I can send you her contact information. And
Right. So we were originally talking though about potentially me being a guinea pig of her going through the Google AI route, which should bring that cost a lot for the cast. 4,000, 5,000 for a new author is just, frankly, you're never going to get that back.
right. And well, that's
But
why I have an
if
offer.
we get the cost down to 1,000, 1,500,
Right.
it's doable.
Well, and I do think, you know, with the technology the way it is, we can bring the cost down. But I'm not going to offer anything to our authors. I don't think they're going to have a shot at recouping their investment. So that's why I haven't made a big deal about it. There are people that still want to try, and so I put them in touch with Mackenzie.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking the AI route, if it can cost around 1,500. Now, Terror Strikes won't work because there's the blog within a book and the letter to the editor. So the way I see it, I need a narrator, Martin's voice, and the letter to the editors, creators. They're talking 3 voices. So I'm looking at more like $9,000 to $10,000, 3 voices. But how to write a book and get it published, nonfiction, 1 narrator,
Right.
if that's the AI, that could be potentially doable.
Right. Well, and if you go through a production studio, a lot of authors, they want to save money by voicing it themselves. But because they're not professionals, there's a lot more editing that goes into the work. And so you end up paying as much or more than if you had hired a professional voice. So that's what I have learned about this.
So Linda and Caitlin, I just want to tell you that you're not going to be alone in any step of this process. And it is overwhelming out the gates. And so I'll walk you through all of it, from setting up your accounts to placing your first orders to questions a year later. So you won't just be left holding this.
Perfect.
Perfect, thank you.
I do have a question. At what point in the process, or because we're, just finalizing edits and stuff, the copy editing, but at what point should we be setting up these accounts then?
Why don't I email you tomorrow the links for the accounts, and
Perfect.
you can start working on it. It will take you about 40 minutes at the most to establish your Ingram Spark account,
Okay.
and maybe 15 minutes at the most for your Amazon account. And we can supply an Illumify email for you, or you can use your personal email. A lot of people even use their personal Amazon account login information. We don't sell that, it's private information. We just use it once to upload your ebook, occasionally to set up your ebook promotion if that's included in your contract or not. So
Yeah.
I'll send you the email of what to do next.
Perfect. Thanks.
And to you, Caitlin, do you want me to include Linda?
Either of us. I'll be the one setting it up though. So
Got it.
And let me just throw this in. Oftentimes authors are hesitant to add their banking information or their credit card information. We cannot upload the files and get your book going until all that information is complete. So please make sure that you also include, because the reason why is, number one, if you're purchasing copies of your own book, but also for royalties, they want to know where to pay the royalties, and it gets paid every month. Usually there's a 3 to 4 month lag from the beginning of book sales, but then they pay it every month, and they're good about that. That's the part about Ingram Spark. It's, well, Amazon too is great because it's all instantaneous.
Yeah.
I mean, well, they pay once a month, but it's not like they're mailing a check and it takes, time.
And once it's set up, and then you're just learning, like Vera and Phyllis, to navigate, how to place orders and and to learn in my account.
yeah.
Can I just, I want to shout out to Phyllis's book this week. We've been doing the free ebook promotion this week, and her book was ranked number 35 on KDP, her ebook giveaway. And that is the second highest we've ever had. We've had one number 1, but hers is number 35 among all free KDP ebooks. And that is, I just can't believe it. And actually we have another author, Jamie Mansfield, we've been doing it this week. She got up to number 56. And anytime you can get in the top 100, that's great. But we had 2 that have done really well with that free ebook giveaway this week.
And I do want to,
Congratulations.
under categories, yes, congratulations, fellas. But I often get questions is, why did the bookstore in my town put my book in this category and that's not the category? Or why did Amazon say I'm number 1 in this category and I didn't ever, that's not how I would categorize it. Again, Amazon does whatever they want to do. Remember that.
Yeah.
And again, it's not a person, it's a server. So you've got, maybe in a review, maybe somebody said this is the best Christian men's book I've ever read. So you might end up in ranked in a category that your identifiers for your book that we help establish, that wasn't even in your BISACs, is what that's called. So and a bookstore will place your book where they think it will sell and how they understand your book.
Yeah.
So
with my book, you guys did really well with the ebook giveaway with my book too. It hits number 1 in 3 categories. So, and I make note of that on my terrorstrikes.info/bestseller page. Michael took a screenshot of that.
Yeah.
Thankfully. And so I created a page for it, terrorstrikes.info/bestseller. Is anyone on this call in LA, Pine River, Minnesota, or Washburn, Virginia? Because I got hits on my site from those locations. So I was wondering if it was anybody in this call.
No.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah. Yes,
With regard to what he was talking about, when you get the all those books are sold or are given away with the ebook, and it throws you into the bestseller list for the Kindle store, but it also gives you a ranking, like your ranking for the categories that you're in. How do you use that?
So, and I tell authors, don't tell people during the week of your free ebook giveaway, because you want people to pay for your book. But next week, if you have an audience on Facebook, emails that you've collected, say, hey, just want to let you know, last week we hit number 35. Our book hit number 35 on this. That's Phyllis's. Why don't you scroll down? Let's just see where it's looking right now. It usually peaks earlier in the week. So it's already gone down. But you just tell them, anybody you know, hey, just want you to know, we ranked in the top 100 books. We were number 35 in the country.
Yeah, you definitely want to make promotional use of that, which is why I put a bestseller page on my site touting that.
Yeah, you could put it on your website.
Another thing I've been experiencing a lot lately, again, they don't always play nice together, Ingram Spark and Amazon, is that the preview has only been for the ebook and not, yours is in the same boat, Phyllis, as several other authors, is that they're giving you a sample of the Kindle edition because why? We uploaded the ebook with Kindle and they're not going to show the paperback edition because the paperback edition is being generated out of Ingram and not out of Kindle.
Yep. Yeah, and you could use Book to Look though to create your own peek inside and put that on your website or share it via social media. It's like $100, I think, but you define how many pages you want that it. Amazon tells you what it's going to do, like Jen says. Amazon does whatever they damn well please, unfortunately. Book to Look through Boker also, you could get it through Boker. You can define pages 1 through 10, 15 to 20, 37 to 39. You define what people see.
Because when I upload your book to Ingram Spark, so I'll be the one when you sign off, Linda and Caitlin, when you sign off on your book and you pay your final payment, and then I'm going to upload your book files for you and get it all set up and enable the distribution, is I always select look inside feature. But just recently, and it seems like every 3 months I have like a new issue I'm experiencing because, again, I don't want to play nice thing that I'm trying to work my way around, whether it's linking books or whatever it is, or metadata. So anyway.
Well, here's how Amazon works. It reminds me of when I was a kid and I would play a board game with my older sister and she kept changing the rules on me to her advantage and she didn't tell me, and I got so mad at my older sister. Well, that's what Amazon does. They keep changing the rules to their advantage. They don't tell a soul, and you just got to find out. You know, I mean, we had a situation. We did a book with a Columbine shooting survivor, Columbine High School, and all of a sudden her ebook disappeared. And we're like, and I'm on vacation. I'm in Taos, New Mexico, and she calls me, says my book isn't on Amazon. So we started jumping through hoops. Well, we found out that there was her website was on her book description page for her book, and they accused her of trying to sell books. She was in competition with Amazon. Well, so they just shut it down. Well, come to find out, all she was doing in that link was pointing people back to Amazon. So I had to write a letter as her publisher saying, here's what's going on. And then the book went live again. But it's just, this is how they operate. So we do our best to help our authors. Sometimes these things happen, it's beyond our control. And if that does happen, and it's unlikely, you're not going to be the first one to have to deal with that.
Yeah, and we just ask for patience, and it's just a process.
Yeah,
We'll get there.
I'm on that Ingram Sparks author community page going through the questions, and I agree to the group rules. First one, no promotions. Well, the only point and purpose I would want to be on there is to promote my book.
Oh,
You know.
well, all authors want to promote their book.
Obviously, promote. Find any and every angle you can to promote. And I discussed that in how to write a book and get it published, because you've got to find every free avenue you have to promote and sell your book.
Any other questions?
Yes.
Yeah. This information is in the chat. Do I need to, if I want to get this downloaded to me, Do I need to do it now before you guys leave?
Yes.
It will disappear. So you could click on the links and open those windows and bookmark them. I can also take a screenshot and I can email them to you so that you can save the email if you would like.
Or you could click the 3 dots for more. There's a save chat option, so you could save it as text to your desktop.
Oh, I didn't know that, Jesse.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Where do
Yeah,
I do
along the
that?
bottom, there's the format, there's the screenshot, there's the file, there's the, I don't know what that other, the face emoji. Then there's the 3 dots. Click the 3 dots, you'll see save chat. And that will save it in a notepad item for you. You could save it to your desktop as so you don't lose it. You can move it later, but save it to your desktop so you know right where it's at.
I'm using the 3 dots. But anyway, so
Yeah, no, at the very bottom, if you open the chat, right? Do you see the chat?
yeah,
If you open the chat,
I see some dots.
see at the
Say
very
more.
bottom, it says type message here.
Yeah.
There's 4 icons, then 3 dots. Click the 3 dots, then save chat.
Right.
It says chat saved. Okay, it saved it where it wanted to. Then click show in folder so you find where it saved it for you. Otherwise, you'll lose it.
Here.
It's in some obscure folder, so make sure you click the show in folder or you'll never find it.
All right.
Phyllis, did you have a question?
Yes, I wanted to ask about the ratings and the reviews on Amazon. It says I have 4 ratings, but there's only 1 review that is there. What's the deal on that?
Different. Yeah, a rating is they clicked a star rating. A review is they actually clicked write a review. Like if you go to mine again,
Yeah.
you will see 27 ratings, but not all reviews. Yeah, there you go. So you've got 4 global ratings there. All of them are 5-star, but only, well, okay, so there are 2 people actually who wrote a review there in this example.
The Netherlands.
Huh.
Yeah, I got a review from Australia. Unfortunately, it wasn't a positive one.
4 total ratings, 2 with reviews.
Yeah. So
And-
that's that difference, yeah.
We had an author who got a negative review and he was mad and he wanted us to get the review off. You can't get the review removed. It's up there. And let me just say this, a negative review is like a rite of passage for every author. And I wrote a book for Bethany House in 2008, and there are these people that reviewed my book, give it a low review, and it was obvious they hadn't even read the book. So it just happens.
Amen, brother.
Yeah.
I have trolls who don't like me in real life, who never read the book. They'll order a Kindle version so that they can spend $5 to then trash you online. So it will happen. I discussed that and how to write a book and get it published. It can happen. It will happen. People who hate you will troll you. But you can also use a negative review, Michael, for promotion. I have a terrorstrikes.info/reviews page, and I actually quote 2 of my negative reviews because I then can make a rebuttal as to why they obviously didn't understand the book for the one, and the other, I clearly went into the fact that it's an online troll, knows me, doesn't like me, is just attacking me for the sake of attacking me. They clearly never read it. So I created a whole article at beforeitsnews.com on that's got a couple hundred views. And I literally cut and pasted his review and went in page after page how he's a troll and why he's attacking me, and it helped me sell books.
Okay, so we got 5 minutes to go. So any other questions? Yeah, Vera.
Jen, you said you could send me a copy of these, the things about Ingram Sparks. That's the ones I want, and the ISBN search.
You got it. I will send them to you. Happy to do so.
Any other questions?
I'm glad
Awesome.
to see you got a bunch of new authors, Michael.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and
tomorrow, what I'm going to do tomorrow is I'm going to, actually, I'm going to go ahead and stop recording.